Let me get started. Hi, my name is Sherilyn Dorsey, and I am creator and founder of You're More Than Their Mother, and I teach entrepreneurial moms to reclaim, realign, and rebalance their lives and go after their dreams. Hi, Blaine. Thanks for joining. So today, in keeping with the series, or in keeping with the theme of guilt, I want to talk about how guilt is ruining your relationships. So in my last video, I talked about guilt and its source, where it comes from. And if you haven't seen that, definitely go back and take a look at that. It will help frame and reference this video. But what I want to talk about is how that guilt is ruining your relationships. When we talk about guilt, it's something that you are holding yourself to or up against, a standard that you're holding yourself up against. We talked about how sometimes that standard that you're holding yourself up against, although it may be your own, it may be sourced from your childhood, from your environment, from comparing yourself even to other people who are around you in immediate family, etc., work relationships, whatever it is that may be. But you're holding yourself to some standard that you consider yourself not living up to. And so now you feel guilty about it. Well, with that guilt, of course, we know that guilt is an emotion, but with that emotion comes another emotion that organically really comes out of that. And that's one of frustration. When you are feeling guilty about something, you are more easily frustrated about something that may usually not frustrate you. Have you ever heard the phrase, the straw that broke the camel's back? I'm sure you have. Well, usually something that can easily frustrate you or tick you off or piss you off, whatever it is that you use, usually comes from the fact that you are frustrated about something else. Then something else happens up and it happens to appear or it happens to you and it takes you over the top. Well, what I want you to know is that when you are feeling guilty about something, you are harboring frustration inside of you. And it's going to take one simple thing that will send you over the top. And that is a hazard to your relationships. First of all, when you're walking around with this guilt that shows up in the form of frustration, you're more easily ticked off, right? So a simple conversation with you, or maybe someone asking you something, you may take it the wrong way because you're harboring something that the other person really knows nothing about. That person knows nothing about the standard you're holding yourself up against that you feel like you felt short of. So they're going on carrying normal conversation with you. But for you, because now you have that filter of frustration on your eyes and your ears, so the way that you hear things, how you see things is affected by this frustration and guilt. Because you have this on you, I see you get what I'm saying. Because you have this on you already, you're taking what other people say in the wrong way. And so it's causing you to lash out at them. Well, when you lash out at people, guess what? Very often they lash right back out at you. Unfortunately, of course, we always want someone who's the bigger person, but oftentimes that doesn't happen. Right? Or even sometimes, right? It doesn't happen. But most importantly, it doesn't have to happen with you. When you can acknowledge the fact that you are feeling guilty about something, whatever that may be it something going on in your personal life, be it something going on in your professional or your business life, right? You can acknowledge to yourself that, you know what, I'm feeling frustrated about this right now and I need to separate myself, be it from people, be it from a circumstance, whatever the case may be. But another thing that you can do to release yourself from this frustration and to really not only acknowledge it in you, but also acknowledge the fact that you are treating people in this way, and that kind of give people almost, I want to call it a warning, right? Or educate people on how it is that you're feeling, because we're human, right? We have ebbs and flows. But the best tool I think that we have is communication. And I think that when you can talk to people and let them know, you know what, I'm just not in a good space right now. I can't do this with you right now, or I'd like to talk to you a little bit later about this. I'm feeling frustrated about some things. Whatever communication it is that you need to really share in order to get the point across that you're not really feeling it at that moment, right? That you can't really go on and a way that most would consider business as usual, because you have some level of frustration going on inside of you. So as you acknowledge that, that helps you to kind of really not just combat a wrong turn in the relationship, but sometimes even just avoid a wrong turn in the relationship. And think about this when I say relationships. I'm not just talking about a relationship, an intimate relationship that you may have, because of course it's affected in that way with your partner, right? They can say that quick one thing to tick you off. But guess what? When you're frustrated or feeling guilty and it shows up as frustration, your children feel that. Right? Because you're more angst with them, and then you hold them to some standard that you have really going on in your head. So they're kind of thinking, what's wrong with you? What did I do to you? Right? And so then you feel like in turn they're giving you attitude. So now you're going to lash out at that. Who do you think you're talking to? You better watch your mouth. Don't roll your eyes. Don't walk away from me, right? Because again, we have this filter of frustration on how we hear and see things, and the other people may not even have a clue. So guilt is a thing that not only affects, of course, like I said, your relationships, or it not only affects your relationships intimately, or your intimate relationships, wow, tongue-tied there, but it affects your relationships with your children. It affects your relationships at work. It affects your relationships with your friends. It affects every single thing you do. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I believe that how you do anything is how you do everything. So make sure you pay attention to that. So thank you so much. I really hope that this resonates with you and that you understand where I'm coming from with it, and that I gave you some tools on how you can really shift or maybe even avoid some frustrated conversations that are stemmed or that are rooted in guilt, to free yourself from those things and free other people from you when you are feeling that way, because as humans, it happens. It happens to us, and we're not hard on ourselves about it. We simply acknowledge it, do better, and move on. So tell me about some guilt that may have caused some frustration in you. If you're watching this on the replay, hit me, share this definitely on all social media platforms for anyone who you think that it could help. And I will see you next time. I appreciate you joining me via live and the replays. Thank you so much. And remember, it's time to move beyond everyone else's expectations of who you ought to be and become the woman you thought that you could be. Bye.